Hey, you want some cool merch? Then head down to my Teespring store where all these designs are made by me, ranging from mugs, hoodies and t-shirts, and even from catchy slogans that I have made myself. Oh yeah, some tasty stuff. Get it all today. How are you doing, Acolytes? I'm TheOracle, and welcome to another, Zoom light, not light novel, graphic novel, comic reading. Probably more of a graphic novel when you think about it. And once more into the breach as I raise the skull. Yeah, as I'm quoting William Shakespeare, and you can probably see the title, we're reading Henry V, a graphic novel of it. So let's get into this week because I have nothing to upload for tomorrow, so this will be it. You know, it doesn't need much editing, apart from like, you know, trying to move it so you can see it more, but yeah, so anyway, let's read along to this epic tale. As we, you know, I'll do that kind of stuff, you know. I read this at school by the way, ages ago, so yeah, that's what I found to read this. It's been in several parts by the way, as you can see here. It's 4 acts, and looked at Act 4. Act 4, long baby, of course Act 3. That's very long, don't they? Let's get into our players of the game, whoop whoop whoop. Today we got King of Henry V, King of England. The Duke of Gloucestershire, brother to the King. So they look so related, don't they? Duke of Bedford, also brother to the King. Duke of Exeter, uncle to the King. Duke of York, cousin to the King. They look related, but he don't ain't got no beard. Earl of Sainsbury, Earl of Westmoreland. I've not heard of Westmoreland at all, but alright. Earl of Warwick, Archbishop of Banterbury, cheeky Nando's mate. Bishop of Ely, Earl of Cambridge, Henry, Lord Scoop of Marsham. There's a conspirator, of these are traitors. Because they're called conspirators. Sir Thomas Grey, Sir Thomas Eppenham, and officer of the King Henry's army. Captain Gower, right then, another officer in his army. Captain Fullian, that's a weird name. Captain McMorris, yeah, McMorris mate, McMorris. Captain Jamie, these are all weird names, aren't they? John Bates and Alexander Court. And on the other side, whoop whoop. Not other side, just continuing, but you know, Mr. Michael Williams and Pistol and soldiers in the army and Nim. Yes, looks very elfish, doesn't they? Nim. Soldier in King Henry's army. Bardolph, soldier in King Henry's army. Moving on. Boy servant, a herald. Next we'll see a horse. Now it's Charles VI, King of France, baby. The other side. There's Louis the Dauphin. The Duke of Bourbon, the French Duke. The Duke of Burgundy, French Duke. We're doing accents in this as well. Duke of Orleans, French Duke. The Constable of France. Lord Ramours, French Lord. Lord Guimper. And Montjoy, the French Lord and Herald. The Queen Isabel, who probably is from Spain, to be honest. Queen of France. Catherine, daughter to Charles and Isabel, who Henry marries after this, who had the war. Weird that, isn't it? Alice, a lady attendant to Catherine, her hostess of the tavern and former mistress, quickly, I don't know what it is. And the chorus will be guiding this through that epic tale. And here's the synopsis here. This is the 15th century and the Archbishop of Canterbury worried over the impending legislation that would effectively rob the church in England. You know, won't be the church yet, it's going to be until Henry VIII. Oh well. Of his power and wealth convinces Henry V to forego the suit of favour laying claim to France armed with legal technically. Henry decided to take the throne of France by whatever means necessary. Who's the villain in this? Things like Henry V, or, you know, everyone's got the villain in this. War, baby! The Dauphin's assaulting response sent an ambassador with a grip of tennis balls. Might have said in tennis balls. That'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it? Would it be an insult response to say, what he said? He said tennis balls. You want to play tennis? Better if tennis wasn't invented yet then, but you know. Convinces Henry that the French want to respond to the war. He gathers his army to obey France. But he must also take to certain that he leaves enough troops in England to quell any potential rebellions, as you know. Middle Ages, rebels a lot. That leaves him a relatively small invasion force. Henry must deal with one plot before even crossing the channel. Lords Cambridge, Scroop and Grey are discovered to continue conspiring to assassinate Henry, instigated by the French. The goddamn French. Henry makes a very public example of all three, arresting them in prison and proceeding to the execution. The army then laid siege to Hafur, kept it up, basically just saying what happens, you know. Moving on. And this is our chorus for this evening. Act 1. All for our muse of fire that will send brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage to Afro princes to act and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then stood the war like hemp. Harry. Who's Harry? Like himself, resumed the port of Mars, and the heels lasting like a hound, and stood famine, sword, and fire crafts for employment. You understand this? This is the longer version, real, so prepare to get confused. But pardon, gentles, all unused spirits that died on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great the object can fill this cockpit, hold the basilisk field of Francis. All may be crowned with this wooden the very casket that did affit the heir to Agincourt. I don't know any of these words, but you know, Shakespeare is a bit of aloof. Oh pardon, since a crooked figure may arrest in little place a million, and let us ciphers to this giant circumference on your imaginary forces work. Suppose with the girdle of these walls are now confined to mighty monarchies, which these high heard and the Britain's fronts that the perilous narrow ocean parts asunder. Pierce out their imperfections with your thoughts into 1,000 parts divide, one man and like imaginary presence. Drunk when we talk of horses that you see them printing their proof hooves that are recruiting the earth. Do you understand this yet? Probably not. For 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them there and there, jumping over times, turning them the accomplishments of many years into hourglass, for the wits supply admit a chorus to this history. Who prologue like yourself with patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play. Gonna do dramatic there, but you know. Here you go, Act 1 baby, whoop whoop. London, the antechamber in the King's Palace. Spring in the year he's Archbishop of Canterbury and then the Bishop of Ely deep in conversation. My lord, I tell that the sale bill is yours which in the 11th year of the last King's reign was like, and had indeed against us passed, but the scambling and unchecked time did push it out to the further question. But my lord, shall we resist it now? But my lord, shall we resist it now? It must be the fault of the passed against us. We lost but a half of our possession. For all the temporal lands which must be dealt by testament have given to the church to stop they stripped from us. Being valid this, as much as I would pertain to the King's honour, full 15 earls and 15 knights, 6,200 good esquires, and to the relief of lizards and the weak aids of innocent fate souls. Trying to do dramatic here. And past corporal toil and all 100 osmosis right well slipped, and to the coffers of the King besides £1,000 of the year thus ring the bill. Thus rings the bill. This would drink deep. 2 would drink the cup and all. But what prevents them? Who's talking now? Oh, is him. The King is full of grace and fair regard, and that thy true lover of the Holy Church. Gotta do a French accent for him, whoops. The causes was this youth promised us, note beneath us no sooner, left his bar body, but he's will just mortified to him, see him to die too. This is a weird language we're reading here, but this is Shakespeare trying to be smart when he wasn't, but no. Maybe we didn't go from here? Alright then. Yes, at the very moment consideration like an angel came and whiffed upon offending Adam of him leaving, as the body of paradise. No, because it would be all archbishops and this is before Henry VIII. Would it be Italian? We're going to try that. Yes, at the very moment consideration like an angel came and whipped up and offended Adam at the drift, leaving the body as a paradise. You know, the cook of the pizza. to envelop it and contain celestial spirits. Never was such a southern scholar made a gained reformation in the flood with all the current golden thoughts. Nor have I had a wilderness as soon as did lose his seat and all at once as his king. We're very blessed in the change. Hear him but what reason and dignity and all admiring with reward with desire the king made a palette. Here desire the commonwealth, and you saw had been hope but is sturdy. Last is the discuss of the war, and you shall hear a faithful battle render you to the musica, fantastical. Then turn them into any course of the policy, Gordian knot, although unlock John Juice and Miller of his character. We talk about the Gordian knot. He's probably confused too. Anyway. That when he speaks, yeah, the Chesterfield returning still the mute one that lurking in men's ears, ears. To steal his grant and money fantasies, and all that art and practice part of life must be mistress to his theoric. Which is why I wonder how his grace should clean it, and how his addiction was to cause his bane his companies elected through to Shalom. These hours filled up with riots, banquets and sports. Played the football. And never noted him in any study, any attempt, any segregation from open advance and popularity. Just the Pope and him talking. The strawberry grows underneath the nettle, and wholesome berries thrive and reaping through the neighbour plots and the baser quality. And so forth the Prince of Skirdy's competition Linda and the Vale wilderness, which no doubt grew like a summer grass. Fastened by the night and unseen, yet crossing in his facility, faculty. Not understanding what these words are, not honestly. Well, I understand what they are, but why do you put them into the random sentence like that? I mean, a bit odd. It must be for the miracles, and seers, and therefore we must need them this means, and how things are perfectible, whatever I saw it, perfectable. But my lord, how more for my grace and it was built as by the common poor, and how his majesty means to know it, no? That's long. Anyway, is indifferent or rather saying more upon the part than crossing the exhibitor against us for it, eh? I have made an offer we can't refuse. That's an interesting put that there, boy. To his majesty, upon our spiritual conviction, you know. And the reins of causes now in hand which I open to his grace at last, as touching France, to give a greater sum than ever had one time. The clergy yet did it to his predecessors, part were full. One more word, boy. Oh, how did this offer seem received, my lord? With good acceptance of his majesty, That was there not time enough to hear, as I perceived his grace without pain had done. The several and unwinded passages of his true titles, to certain duncums and generally to crown and seat of France, derived from the Edward his great grandfather. What was that done to that just broke off? The French ambassador, those goddamn French, upon that instant craved the audience, and the hour I think is to give him hearing, or was it 4 o'clock? Let me go into his embassy, which I could go with a last gasp declare before the President would speak a word on it. I'll wait upon you and hear it. You go this thing too, boy. London, the throne room and King's Palace, no more Italian bishops. Again, at the time, all bishops they'll come from the Catholic thing, so I assume they're Italian. Gonna have to be, wouldn't they? So, just to think. Yeah, and he's meeting with these dignitaries. Where is the gracious Lord of Canterbury? Where is the greatest Lord of Canterbury? Send to him, good uncle. Not here in presence. Course, shall I call in the ambassador, my liege? Not yet, my cousin. We were well resolved before we hear of some things will wait that. Take our forces selling to us in France. Hey, the Italian whisper again. God and his angels scared to throw and make your lawn become it, you know. So we thank you, may landlord, and pray to you proceed and justly and religiously unfold why the Lords Gaelic than they have in France, or should they or not bar us or our claim. And good God forbid, my dear and faithful Lord, that you should fashion, waste or bow your readings, or nicely change your understanding soul, with opening titles miscreate with those bright suits not in native colours with the truth. For God doth know how many now in health shall drop their blood in operation of what your reverence shall cite us to for. Take heed how you impawn our person, how you awake our sleeping sword of war. We charge you in the name of blood, take heed. Didn't know Prince Henry, King Henry V was edgy, but alright. For now such two kingdoms to contend without much of the blood, whereof gutless drops at every one of woe or sore complaint. Saint him those who give edge to the swords that make such waste brief mortality. Under the conducive speak, my lord, and we will hear note, and believe in heart, and that's what you speak in your conscience. Was as pure sin with baptism. What is he talking about there? Talking about, I don't know what he's talking about. Then hear me, gracious sovereign, and you peers and owe yourselves your lives, and services to the imperial throne. There is no bar to make against your Highness' claim to France, but this will they produce from Farmland. In terrible sacrilege, marvellous he succeeded. No women sell foreign sacrilege unless it's with wine. Don't do an Italian accent, that's fucking cringe, but like, which is solid land to the French and justly close to the realm of France, you know. And well, that says the founder of this law and bear female bar. Yet their own authors faithfully affirm that the land is a sacrilegious German between the floods of Scythia and over Elba. Ooh, I should have gone the short one. When Charles the Great, having subdued the Saxons, they left behind themselves certain French and holding in disdain to the German women. For some dishonest manners of their life are established in this law, you know. To wit, and the females should be heresy sacrilege land. When sacrilege, as I said, tweet Aber, and I said that this day in Germany called Messiah, the Dauphin will appear in the sacrilege law. Will not dissolve the full realm of France, you know. Nor did the French possess the sacrilege land until 1220 years of the function of the king. Profoundly any supposed founder of the law. How much talking do we have here, bruh? Alright then. Who died within the year of our redemption? Who? Do you think I'm a clown? 426, and Charles the Great subdued the Saxons and did seek the French beyond the river Saler in the year 805. Besides, their writers say King Pempin was deposed, said Childeric, that did as that general being descended of Boothead, which is the daughter of King Clothier, may claim the title of the Crown of France, you know. After this we should get pizza. Boy. Anyway, Highcraft is also who upset the crown of Charles the Duke of Lorraine, sole male heir of the true landless son of Charles the Great, or the stock of Charles the Great, to find his title with some souls of the truth. No, and pure truth, it was corrupt and not corrupted himself at the heir. To the Lady Lecturer, daughter to Charlemagne. That's Charlemagne. Who was the son of Louis the Emperor, and Louis the son of Charles the Great. Nice line there. Also, King Louis the 10th, King Louis the 10th, alright, weird name, who saw heir to usurp a carpet, but could not keep quiet in his own conscience, you know. Wearing the crown of France till he satisfied that his fair Queen Isabel, his grandmother, was the lineal of Lady Margaret, daughter to Charles, therefore said Duke of Lorraine. by which marriage the line of Charles the Great was reunited to the crown of France, you know. So that title, as clear as the summer's sun, King Pepin's title and the High Cupid's claim, King Louis the certification all appear in his right and title of the to the female. So did the kings of France unto this day. How about how they hold up this Catholic law to bar your highness claiming from the female and rather choose to hide in a net, you know, then apply the bar of crooked titles observed from you and your progenitors. I need to go and lie down, cause I'm just talked in a tired accent for so long. May with right and conscience make this claim. The sin upon the head, dread sovereign in the book of Numbers it writ, when the man dies that the inheritance descend unto the daughter. Do you have daughters? Are they good looking? Don't take me for a clown. Gracious stand for your own unwind bloody flag. Look back onto your mighty ancestors. And this is a long chapter, isn't it? So my dread lord, to your great grandsire's tomb. For when you claim and invoke his warlike spirit, then your great uncles Edward the Black Prince, who on the French ground played a tragedy, making defeat on the full power of France, while his most mighty father on the hill stood smiling to behold his lined foreheads in the blood floods of blood nobility. Which one's first? Oh, this one. I was hearing it. Oh, noble English that could contain with the half of the bosses, you know, the bosses with half pride of France and let the other half stand laughing but without work, call for action. Awake remembrance of these fallen dead, and with your pursuit of renewing their fleets, you are their heir. You sit upon their throne, and blood and courage that renown them ruins. In your veins and my face and present seeds is the very moment of his youth, ripe for exploits and mighty enterprises. Oh, yeah, your brother's king and monarchs ordered the herd for spent that you should rouse, yourself as did and the lines of your blood. They know your grace, Charles, and the means and the might so hath your highness. Never did the king of England and noble Richard and more loyal subjects, whereas her hearts have left your bodies here, in England and his pavilion land in the fields of France. Oh, let their bodies flow through, my dear liege, with blood and sword, and fire, making the pizza, cook the pizza. To win your right and aid we're about to your spirit, you will raise to your highness such a mighty sum, as I never did declare you at one time bringing in your ancestors. We might not only arm to evade the French, but lay down a preparation to defend against the Scots, who will make road upon us with all our advantages. They make those marches, whether sovereign shall be all specific to defend England from the threatening borders. We do not mean the cursing snatchers, but only the man independent of the Scot who hath been still a guilty neighbour for us all, as you read that my great-grandfather never went with his forces into France, but the Scot in his unfinished kingdom came pawns, like the tide into a breach for ample and brim fullness of his force, gaining in a gleam land with hot asses along with the grievous seas, castles and towns. That England, being empty or shook and trembled at her neighbours, had the ill neighbourhood. She had been feared and numbered, my liege, for her, but myself when her Jubilee had been in France, and the abroad widow, and nobles and half herself but only the will vended, but taken and pounded at a stray, the King of Scots, whom has he not send to France but to find King Edward's fame with the Prince of the Kings, and make chronicle as the Brits of bays as he oozes at bottom of the sea, with sunken wreck and same as treasures. I'm more here, he's talking here. But there's a But there's a very same old true if that was France and then with Scotland being first. Once the eagle England being would prey to her unguarded nest, and we to Scott come sneaking and sucks her princely eggs, playing their mouse in the absence of the cat to tear havoc more than she can eat. Do they know what they're talking about? That definitely do they? I follow it then. The cat must stay at home, yet this is a crust necessity since we have locks. The safeguard necessities and pretty traps to catch the pretty thieves. Why I have armed both doth for fight abroad and advised head defends itself at home. For government though through high and low, the lower put into parts doth keep in 1% green in full and natural like music. For doth heaven divide in the state, men's abundance, you know. Setting endeavour in continental motion, which is to fix as the aim of the butt-cheeks, obedience for money bees. Creatures about the rule in nature teach us in active order to the people kingdom. They have a king and officers of a sort with some like magistrates. Correct at home, others like merchants and benches to trade abroad, and others like soldiers and armed in stings make boats upon summer's velvet billiards. Oh, he's still talking. Boy, damn. Which billets they with merry mutts bring home to the tent royal of their emperor, with bruised in the majesty. There is a singing mason buildings, you know. Roofs of gold of silver. The Phil citizens reading up the money. The poor mechanics' quarters crowding in their heavy burdens at his narrow gate. Say a lot in this, don't they? Oh, I also got the sort of one because they're just reading gibberish. The justice would be surely him delivering order to executions, pay on the learning drum. I disinfer many times I have full reference to one some may would work concisely. With many arrows looted several ways come to one mark, as many ways meet to one death, as many fresh streams met in one salt, as many lines close in dial centre, as many 1,000 actions, one foot end and one purpose, and all one word before well defeat. Therefore to France, my leads, divide your happy England into 4 well, if you take 1/4 to France, and with one so of all the Gallas sake, if we could place such powers left at home, cannot defend our own doors from the dog. Let us all be well, and our nation lose the name of hardness, policy. There we go. Read him now. Call in the messengers straight from the Dauphin. Now we all resolve by God's help and yours, the noble seekers of our power, France being ours, well bend it to our or break it to our pieces. All that will be set broad and large and ample emperor of France, and all almost every kingly dukedoms, or lady's bones in unworthy urn, tomeless with no remembrance over them. Either our ancestry shall with 4 months speak freely on the axe, or else the grave like Turkish midst have a tongueless mouth of what worship the accent epitaph. What? How much we have to go here? Oh, there we're done. Get to that and we're done. Alright? Who's talking? Keep going twice here. Okay. Got French people though. Got French accent coming up. Now we appear the pleasure of our fair cousin Dauphine, for we hear your greeting from not him but not from the king. We are no tyrant but a Christian king, unto whose grace our passion is a subject for our wit wenches festered in our prisons. Therefore with frank and with uncurbed plainness tell us the Dauphin's mind. Majesty, you please give us your us freely, you know, when we're this French. Render him having a judge. Or shall we sparely show off bar off the dolphins meaning an embassy? What treasure, uncle? This filling your highness lady sending it to France. They claim some dukedoms, then in the right to your predecessor, Ever King the Third. And the one claim the France wants. What? Oh no, it's like this, isn't it? And you on your old we claim France, the master says that you're giving to us much. And you're from bits that be eyes the amounts the France can be. With nimble galad, the one you cannot reveal the dukedoms there. Here, force angels to your master for your spirit, and turn your treasure, and in the lure of your desires, to let the dukedoms, what the fuck are dukedoms, that you claim to have no more of your dish, the dolphin speaks. Tennis balls, my liege. Yeah, that makes no sense. What? Tennis balls? We are glad the dolphin is so pleasant. With us the present and your pains we thank you for. When you have matched our rackets to these balls, we will in France by God's grace pay, set and shall strike his father's crown to hazard. Tell him, half march that with such a wrangler that all courts of France will be disturbed with chases and will understand him well, and how he comes off to our wilder days, not meaning what he made of them. Good actor. And is that bit, and then we're done. Okay then. We'll never value this poor seat of England, and therefore living hastening dig grace to himself barbarous. Licensed as is ever common, and men are merriest when they are far from home. But tell the Dauphin, I will keep my state, be like a king, and sow my sail of greatness when I do rouse the men in the throne of France. For that I laid that my majesty am flooded like a man for working days, but will rise there so full of glory, and will dazzle all the eyes of France, it strike the dolphin blind to look unto us. And tell the pleasant France, the mock of his half-turned bulls into gunstones, and his soul shall stand for chaste of the wasteful vengeance, as they'll fly them for many a thousand widows. Then he's mock out of the dear husbands. Mock mothers from their sons, mock castles from down, and let their forgotten and unborn, and shall cause the curse the dolphin's scorn. But this all lies within well God to whom I appeal, and all those name a tale to the dolphin. I am coming to the birds as me as I may, and put forth my rightful hand in the well hollow's curse. So get you hence and pence, and tell the Dauphin his jest will savour but of swallow wit, with 10,000 weep more than laugh, and I at it. Convey with such conduct, fare you well. Tell that this was a merry message. We hope to make the sender both blast forth at it. Therefore, my lords, let them admit no happy hour that may give furtherance to expedition. For now we have no thought in this but France. Send those to God that run before a business. Therefore, let our preparations for these wars soon be collected, and be all things fought upon my whip with reasonable swiftness, add more feathers to our wings. For God before, well child the Dauphin at the father's door. Therefore let every man task his thought that his fair action may have been brought. And now we're on Act 2, I'm going to leave it there, because do you know this will be the longer one. I thought it'd be like the longer one, it'll be like that random words, gibberish, but smart words that make no sense. I mean, but yeah, I never read the school though. I think it's just more easier one. But yeah, so anyway, so we're gonna leave it there then. What we do do all these in parts, like Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, and so forth like that. So yeah, so I was reading graphic novels. If I make it a thing, I don't know. There's comics, graphic novels. Like no rules. Yeah, you probably do it in here. So, this was Henry V, and you want more of this, don't forget to subscribe to get on the darkness and smash the like button, boys. Stay spooky. Toodles!